Assume there are two students. One student is working very hard, studying throughout the year and then going for the exam. And the second one is also working hard. But then apart from that, that student is also looking into the syllabus, looking into the last year question papers, looking into the trends for this year, and then based on that studying. You know that what can be the possible result and who will get more marks. Something similar happens in APQP 3rd edition, 3rd phase. By the time this video will end, you will understand what are the 10 different outputs in the 3rd phase, what are the key challenges that industry is facing, how the 3rd edition is different from 2nd edition, and what the industry can do so that they can achieve the 4 key outputs which are related to productivity, process capability, cost and timing. Now, when we talk about APQP 3rd edition, which was published in the month of March 2024, just like the 2nd edition, there are 5 phases. The first phase is talking about plan and design. Second one is talking about product design and development. Third one is talking about process design and development. The fourth one is talking with respect to the product and process validation. And the fifth one is talking with respect to the feedback and corrective action. You can watch the videos with respect to the phase 1 and phase 2, that is about plan and design as well as product design and development. Today, I am going to talk about the 3rd phase, that is about process design and development. As I said earlier, the key objective of any organization is to achieve 4 key factors, that are productivity, process capability, cost and delivery. Once the organization focuses on these key 4 outputs, there is a very high possibility that whatever the inputs that are coming from phase 2, which are 13 different inputs, and then based on that, the 3rd phase is going on, all those things will be incorporated there and the organization will be able to achieve all those targets. So let's go through all the 10 outputs of phase 3 one by one. So the first one is talking with respect to the packaging. Now when we talk about packaging, the first thing that comes into mind is, say for example, in considering a car, we did a lot of effort and we produced this car. Now but when this car is shifting from the manufacturing facility to the dealership, if the packaging is not good, if the handling is not good, if the transportation is not good, there is a high possibility that whatever effort that we have done so far, they will go waste. If we talk in context of maybe any tier 1 and tier 2, there are a lot of electronics which are there. Now, if there is a requirement to have anti-static packing and that is not being done, so there is a possibility that the product, when it will reach there, it will not meet the requirement. So packaging plays a very important role. And you can link it with that 4 objectives: productivity, process capability, cost and delivery, how they are going to hamper here. The second one is talking with respect to the quality systems, with respect to the product and process reviews. Now here the intent is that whatever the organization is doing, they need to review that whether it is fulfilling all the requirements or not. So there are different kind of audits: internal audit, external audit, maybe a customer audit. And the overall objective is that whatever is the output from phase 2, whether all those things have been incorporated here or not. So all those things are being reviewed here and verified here. The 3rd phase is talking with respect to process flow chart. Now, if you look into the appendix A6, which is there in the APQP 3rd edition, you will find a detailed list of so many points which are to be considered with respect to the process flow chart. Now, when we talk about process flow chart, what it is talking about? Now, it is talking about that in the manufacturing process, when you are making this car, now there are so many processes starting from incoming inspection till that dispatch, how the flow of the material will be there. And then when the material is flowing, what are the different stations, what are the different steps which are there when we are producing a particular car. So unless and until there is a clear identification with respect to that, there is a high possibility that when we actually go to phase 4 and do the production, we may realize that something is not right, or maybe the flow is not right and we are missing something very important. Say for example, maybe some welding is required, and in general many MIG welding operations there is a rework and there is a reinspection. So whether all those things have been incorporated in the process flow chart or not, that makes a lot of importance. The next output is talking with respect to the floor plan layout. Now again, when we talk about floor plan layout, there is an appendix called A5, wherein you will find a lot of questions. Once you do this particular process, then if you go through this appendix and we identify that what we have done, what we have not done, we can identify many things. Now, floor plan layout plays a very important role. Now, if you talk about any manufacturing facility, it can be a small and it can be huge. Now, depending upon the size, what should be the flow of material throughout the organization? That's all with respect to the floor plan layout, about the synchronous flow. And why it is required? Because there is a possibility that if there is too much zigzag, then timing will be more. If it is too much zigzag, then maybe the cost will go high. If it is too much zigzag, the productivity will not come. So in a way, what we are trying to say, that four key indicators which should be the focus, they will not be able to meet. So that's the importance with respect to the floor plan layout. Then the next one is talking with respect to process failure mode and effect analysis. Now, if you look into the AIG video first edition, it is talking in detail about that. And there is an appendix checklist number 7, which is talking about the different questions with respect to the process FME. Now, when we talk about process FME, the intent is that whatever customer requirements are coming, whatever is an output of design FME, whether all those things have been incorporated in that or not. Maybe when we were designing the previous car, there were so many failures in the market. Warranty was very high. Maybe there was some recall which was there. Maybe the internal failures are there. Now, when we are making this FME, are we incorporating all those things? Are we incorporating all the lessons learned from the previous time or not? That's a very important indicator with respect to the FMEA. Because if we are meeting it, we'll be able to make sure about the cost, about the time, process capability, and the productivity also. The next key output here with respect to this phase is with respect to the control plan. Now it is called pre-launch control plan. Now you must be knowing, I shared it earlier also, that in this APQP 3rd edition, till the previous one, control plan was integral part of APQP, but now there is a separate control plan which specifically talks with respect to the different controls there. Now in this stage, we call it pre-launch control plan. Even though now there is one more safe launch control plan, which is a sort of a gap between the pre-launch control plan and the production control plan. Here the intent is that whatever the output which is coming from the process, have we incorporated everything here or not? Maybe there is some special characteristic that needs to be incorporated, maybe some poka which are there, maybe there are certain controls which are defined in the FMEA, whether all those things have been incorporated here so that we can make sure that when it is being used in the shop floor, we are able to achieve our target. So that's why the production control plan, the pre-launch control plan plays a very important role. Then brings the next point, that is the point number 7, that is talking with respect to the process work instructions. Now, in general, control plans are not being used directly in the shop floor. There is a work instruction which is an output from the control plan which is being displayed. And what this is talking about, it is talking about all the controls with respect to competency of the people. It can be talking with respect to the special characteristics, the inspection frequency, the sample size, and there are so many things. So whether the control plan is incorporating all the things which are coming out from design FMEA, process flow chart, as well as the control plan, that is something important. If we see from the context of the organization, many times it happens that the legibility of work instruction is not good. Many times it happens that the language is not correct. Maybe the people who are working in the shop floor, they understand, say, Hindi, or they may understand some other regional language. So whether the work instruction is that language or not. Then also the location. Many times that the work instruction are displayed so high that it's not practically possible anyone to see that without the use of binocular. So what's the fun in that? So very important to understand the importance of work instructions so that whatever output that we want, we can achieve that. Then another important thing here is that output number 8 is talking with respect to the MSA study, which is 4th edition of AIAG. Now in the control plan, there are so many measuring systems which are there. It can be visual, it can be dimensional. There are different measuring instruments which are being used. So how reliable are they? How much is the competence of people who are doing it? Can we trust on the repeatability and the reproducibility? Because if we can trust, there is a possibility that whatever is the output that is coming, it will meet the quality level. So MSA is a very important indicator with respect to that. Then the next one is with respect to the statistical process control. There is a 2nd edition of AIG. Now here again the point is that while making a vehicle, there are some controls which are required. Now to achieve those controls, there can be different ways. It can be 100% inspection is being done, maybe some error proofing is being done, or maybe there is a process capability. So whichever is a legal requirement, maybe a special characteristic with respect to fit, function and performance, there we do this special characteristic to see that whether the output is good or not, because that gives an indication that in the next 2 hours when the production will go on, whether we are going to get the desired result or not, whether we can trust that or not, because that is indirectly linked with the cost, timing and productivity. The next one is talking with respect to the output with respect to the leadership support. Now, when we are making this car, there are a lot many people who are involved. Not only in the organization, there are different stakeholders which are there inside the organization and outside the organization. So here comes the role of leadership, that how the top management is looking into the entire process, how they are making sure that whatever targets which have been set in the beginning with the help of customer with respect to productivity, quality, cost and delivery, what are the present status with respect to that. Are we meeting that? Are we getting delayed? And if it is getting delayed, what is happening? Whether additional resources are required, whether some competency support is required, what more is required? That's the role of leadership. So these are the 10 key outputs with respect to the APQP 3rd edition, phase 3. Now that brings another important aspect, that what are the key changes when we see with respect to the 2nd edition. The first I already shared is that now control plan is a standalone document. The second one is with respect to the different gate reviews. Earlier it was 5, now it is 6. Then the next one is with respect to the checklist. Now the checklists are in much more detail, asking many questions, and it helps the organization to identify that where they are lacking and which other things they have missed. And similarly, there are many more points with respect to that. So that brings another important context, that what are the industry challenges as of now. The first and the foremost challenges with respect to the effective use of cross-functionality. There is many times it is being observed that when we are making process flow chart or process FME or the control plan, there are different people who are doing things and there is no relationship or linkage between all that. So these are 3 different documents and not interrelated, or output of one is going to the input of another. It's a big challenge which is being seen in the industry. Then the second challenge is with respect to that, when we talk about APQP 3rd edition and the 3rd phase, what is the output that we are looking? Is it just that we are looking into the PPAP document and think that yes, the development process is going fine, or we need to understand the intent, we need to see the communication part, we need to see the cross-functional team approach, what is more important, how effectively we are looking into that. And third, the most important is with respect to the involvement of leadership. Unless and until leadership is there, there's a high possibility that maybe in the beginning things may look good, but after a while things may go here and there, which many times happens that when the product is finally delivered to the client, the cost goes high, maybe the timings are getting delayed, maybe the quality is not that good, the target is say 10 ppm, but we are actually 1000 ppm, and so many things happen. That's why the role of top management is very important. So if I do a summary, I talked about the 10 key outputs with respect to the APQP 3rd phase. I talked with respect to the key challenges that industry is facing. I also talked about the key difference between 2nd edition and the 3rd edition. And then I also talked about the 4 key factors which we should keep in mind at the time of development. They are productivity, process capability, cost and timing. My next video will be about the 4th phase, which is talking about the product and process validation. Regularly, I'm getting a lot of feedback from your side and they're helping me to understand your expectation. So please do continue that. If you want to understand a little bit more about this particular video, you'll find a link below. If you click that, you'll find a blog there. There you'll find more information about it. And in case you're liking these kind of blogs and videos, you can always share with your friends and colleagues. And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and my website, bhavyamangla.com. I've got another channel, Life Lessons with Bhavya Mangla, where I'm talking with respect to life and things related to that. If interested, you can go through that and you can subscribe to that also. Thank you.